Hi guys, I'm Haley. I am a wellness coach. I help women who suffer from eating disorders, addiction, and other forms of self-sabotaging. Today I'm here because I want to talk about new moon and full moon rituals. And I really want to invite you into my space the morning after a new moon actually. So last night was the peak of the moon. And I want to walk you through the process of what I do to keep myself in alignment and hold myself accountable through each moon cycle. Before we begin, let's close our eyes and let's combine our energy just to set off the call of this moon. So go ahead and close your eyes. Sit with your spine long. Envision just a ray of darkness through your mind. And go ahead, take a deep inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Keeping this vision of darkness in your mind. Allow your mind to be empty, to be clear just for a moment. And with that clarity, open your eyes. Good. Hi. This is just going to be a short video walking you through what I do for my new moon and full moon rituals. So right here you can see my tray of toys. I love to chant, make loud noises, exert a lot of energy in that way because I find that during the new moon, especially the full moon, I turn very inward and I like to be by myself. I like to self-nurture my space. I don't like to have too much other energy going on around me because I recognize there's a lot of heightened energy going on within me. So I love to make a lot of music. I love to scream, to make chanting, to do all types of things to move energy out of my body in that way. But sometimes I want to just lay there and cry, or sometimes I want to scream. Sometimes I don't feel any type of emotion. But when the opportunity is there where I feel a rush of emotion during that time, I love to have it like some sort of instrument or dance or some way to move that energy outside of my body. Something I really recognize in the moons is, like I said, I love to isolate, I love to be by myself. So a really beautiful tip number one is to make sure you have a window of time, if not a whole evening during the peak of the new moon and the full moon, depend upon where you're more affected, to clear your calendar. If you can, be by yourself, even if you have a loved one, be with your family, really tune into your sacred space and nurture that energy inside of you. Recognize what's coming up, what are you feeling, because these moons through their cycles are big shifts that we really feel in our bodies when we get settled enough or quiet. You might notice around a new or full moon you're hungrier. You might notice around a new or full moon you're getting your moon, you're getting your period. You might notice around a new or full moon that your energy is extremely hyper, you're exerting so much, or you're extremely tired and you feel very timid in my way and you just feel very inward. Or you feel completely exhausted because you're scheduling yourself during this time and you really need to be clearing your schedule. I have these oils here, so something else I always do during the new or full moon is I give myself an oil massage. I do this quite frequently, to be completely honest with you, but during the moon I really try to spend that time with my physical body and ground myself in that way, rubbing my different parts of my body like my lymph nodes when I can reach them, and all different types of ways to circulate movement and circulate blood flow through the body, channeling that energy as well. I like to burn incense and candles as well because, of course, those are just different stimulants to help you ease into the atmosphere and ease into the environment. So I have life around me always too. I have plants. As you can see, there's plants everywhere. So I make sure I have some other life around me just to help, to feed off of each other. Another thing I really love to do, and this is really the main part of my ritual, is I have this moon book. This was a gift from my brother actually when I was leaving to travel the last time around. And I saw this book and I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I decided that I wanted to make it a moon book. And what I do is I read different things that I wrote here, different like mantras and things that I'm gonna write in the email attached to this, and I'll write it underneath the YouTube clipping of what I say going into my new moon and full moon ritual to clear the space, to make sure it's like a sacred ground for me to really hone in on setting my intentions for the next cycle of the moon. So what I do is, I'll write all this down as well, is I write the date, I write what moon phase we're in, what the atmosphere is doing, what if there's an eclipse going on, if it's a strawberry moon, if it's a blood moon, whatever's happening. And what I do is I write a reflection. I write a reflection on how the last moon cycle went. So if it was full moon to new moon, I write about how that time period of my life was, that 2 or so weeks. What has happened for me in that time period? And then I set new intentions for the next cycle until I reach the next height of the moon. And this has been really, really nurturing for me. It's been holding me accountable. It's been really helping me get a clear perspective on where my growths are or where I still need to work. Some things I notice that week after week after week, they're still on my intentions to really abide by. But then eventually it starts to click. So after a couple days of the moon, I let it all sink in. I let it digest. I go back and I reflect on the intentions I set, maybe like 48 hours later. And after that 48 hours, I can really see in a clear sight where I do need to work on these things, these intentions that I've set. So these have really been holding me accountable. And now that I'm in a flow of it, I've been doing it for about 8 months now. Now that, no, more than that, I've been doing that for 10 months now. And now that I'm in the flow of this, I can notice that I've been really learning to take action and hold myself accountable. It's a beautiful transition into kind of like the unknown of wandering into the future, which we're consistently doing. So we're not setting goals and we're not getting attached to the outcome of what we write into this book. We're more or less setting intentions to hold space for us to be working towards something greater than we've already been embodying as we are now. So keep that in mind when you go into the moon. And one more side note, don't be afraid to be selfish during the moon time. Be exactly where you need to be. If you need to be alone, honor that. If you need to be around a friend and you're just craving a specific person's energy in a healthy way, honor that if they're willing to share their energy during the moon. But notice that you're not the only one being affected by the cycle of the moon as well. So if you feel, you notice other people, they're acting differently around the moon, or you feel weird energy, just step back for a moment and reflect on it. And then go ahead, do your work. Don't try and help other people around you during that time. Let them process it. Let them find their way, because they're going through a mental, I guess I would say upwaking or awakening in a sense. They're going through a mental process as well, just like you are. And they're going to be making a lot of realizations through the different cycles of the moons. So when we're consistently trying to help them or fix them or put them in a better mood, it's not really helping. You have to take care of yourself first. And sometimes it starts with a moon book. So yeah, that's what I recommend. I recommend body massages, grounding yourself, really stepping outside into nature. I make sure I go into nature if it's not like 5 feet of snow on the ground. And I make music, I exert energy, I dance, I sing, I laugh, I cry a lot. So don't be afraid to be in full expression during this period of your life. And there's a cycle throughout your entire life. So just know that we're consistently and always going to be going through different phases of our emotions. So don't get attached to how you feel. If something happens in your life, let it happen. But feel exactly how you're meant to feel. Don't try and suppress or change it. The moon doesn't try and change her cycles based off what she feels like she should look like. She's just in her power, and she just goes through it, and she shows up as she is. That's the beauty, and that's the reflection we're getting. And the different moons mean different things. So the more you get in tune with who you are, and the more you get in tune with what you're feeling, you'll be able to read the moon. Your period, your moon will align with it. All of these things will come together in harmony. It's just the act of being mindful and being conscious of when you know the cycle's coming around, noticing what your body's doing, what your mind's articulating, what you're attracting in your life, what you're really doing to bring yourself into a higher place by holding yourself accountable. a lot of the time the new moon has to do with shedding, has to do with setting new intentions, and the full moon technically is holding us accountable. The full moon is really reflecting on that time, really nurturing that space, nurturing that energy to prepare us for the next new moon. So yeah, really be gentle with yourself, and I hope this video served you well.